Alright, next on our list, we're going to go to Trinitro Man, or as he was originally named. But then Mega Man 10 came out, so they kind of renamed him to Trinitro Man, or Trinitro, I guess. Now this, again, is it's an interesting boss design, for sure, and I like the idea of having an explosive-based enemy. This level's been criticized for having everything explode, and yeah, whatever, it's the theme. Go with it. You're not going to complain that everything in the water stage is underwater. Here we have a nice little interesting gimmick, kind of reminiscent of the explosive platforms from Blizzard Man stage, only without the timer. Any contact to these will make them explode, so if you touch them from the side, if you shoot them, they're going to go. You know, and it's nice that it starts off as a vertical stage, because kind of like Solar Man stage, if you mess up and you fall down, you're just going to fall down all the screens to the beginning of the level. No harm done, it's not instant death. It's just sets you back a little until you kind of get a hold of the gimmick. And I feel that that's, that's fair. Here's our next gimmick. Now, these drops aren't too deadly when you hit them in the air, but the explosion obviously is going to be really damaging. So this is a neat little challenge. And again, Rush is really helpful, because if you don't want to bother with this room, just drop Rush Coil over there and climb up the ladder. That's what I did. This is actually, what you just saw was the first time that I actually attempted to go through that part of the level. Every other time I just used Rush. Yeah, whatever, I'm cheap. Shut up. But let's go up here, grab ourselves some bolts. They give you a lot of bolts off the start, and I actually probably could have already bought myself an energy balancer, which would be really helpful and nice. These spikes I feel are unnecessary. I really don't know why they're in this part of the stage. I guess if anything to showcase this. Now, this confused me at first, because it bounces when you stand on it, but when I jumped on it for the first time, I thought it would follow you, and that you could kind of ride it like a platform. So I just walked right off the edge and died, and that was kind of embarrassing. Now, obviously, since you know how the height is going to go here, you know this is an instant death trap, you can just jump over it like I did, or you can jump on it and then quickly slide underneath to avoid getting killed. So it's one of those rare instances where the slide is really thought of in terms of the level design. Really like that Scorpion enemy, and I like how you first encounter him in a flat space. Again, that's really classic level design for Mega Man games. You encounter an enemy and you learn its patterns in a safe and like kind of basic environment, and then later in the level they're going to put them into much more difficult areas where you're going to have to think more on your feet. Now, yeah, I guess I could jump and slide on these, but I really want to highlight this alternate path here, because this leads us to our hidden boss. Or, well, parts of the hidden boss. Now, this I think is a really bad design choice. This is the first instance of gravity switching in this game, and if it's the first instance of a new gimmick, it should be done in a safe environment. That's the Mega Man way, and this is not a safe environment. This game kind of assumes that everybody's played Mega Man 5 and knows how gravity switching works, but that's not an assumption to make. I mean, this game was designed to have the no charge shot and a slide, so it kind of caters to the vast amount of players that have only played Mega Man 2 and 3 and think that, the others aren't worth playing. So I think this was a bad design choice. They should have introduced this gimmick in a safer area, but we'll do what we can. Oh, I have to focus a little bit here, but we're doing okay. So now this is not the way that you're this is not the way that you're supposed to go in this level. This is kind of the leads to the bonus boss, where you have to collect the 4-letter parts to kind of open his level. I'm not going to bother going through the rest of the normal stage, because it's a bit more of the same, and there's not really much that I have to say about it. It's all very well done, I think. And this will be a little bit more challenging, a little bit more fun. There's just no good way about this. Oh, good. I'm probably going to die here. I'm just going to give you a heads up. But as long as I get my letter, I'm okay. So again, here, actually, I've never really thought about this, but I wonder if you can get that by... Oh, that's interesting. You can't even summon Rush Coil when you're upside down. Interesting design choice. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but whatever. So let's go this way. Like I mentioned before, the designer really likes short hops, so if you jump too high here, you're going to fall back to... Okay, that was actually kind of funny. Completely unintentional. So you have to short hop through this, and apparently I can't do that all that well. But hey, we actually have a checkpoint here, which is unexpected. So yeah, there are checkpoints in the bonus areas, I guess, to make... Which doesn't seem right, because if you enter a bonus area and it ends up being too much for you, you have to game over. Which I feel doesn't really make sense for bonus areas. If they're optional, then you should have the option of deciding that you don't want to go that way again. And I guess maybe you can enter or exit off the left, but that'll lead to a spike pit and you'll die. So, no, I guess I'm stuck with this path. Not the best. Uh-oh. That didn't work out too well. Forget it, I'm running! So yeah, this could have been done a little differently, but it's clever, and I do enjoy the kind of gravity gameplay. I know some people don't like it, but Gravity Man stage is definitely my favorite in Mega Man 5, and there was another one of those fan games that I think was based entirely around it, and it was okay. Nothing I really particularly was fond of, but it had some good ideas. Alright, here we go. Ooh, let's get that out of the way, because if you jump into that, it's just gonna cause you more hurt. Alright, we made it! And most importantly, I got my letter, so I don't have to play this part of the level again. Ow! Uh-oh. I can never expect... I haven't figured out that enemy's movements yet, because I know he sometimes does a really long jump. Okay, now here, as you could probably guess, you do not want to get flipped in the middle, because that will kill you pretty instantly, unless you're really clever up at the top, but you won't be. So let's do this nice and safely. Not too bad. Whereas this one switches it up a bit with some short hops, and that E-Tank is a trap! Don't do it! Don't do it! It won't work out for you. So let's short hop here, and it's pretty decent. So as you can see, that's what would have happened if you accidentally, jumped a little too high. You would have gone right into that, and boom, you're dead. Ah, these enemies are difficult to hit. Don't hit me. Okay, thank God. And now we're about to rejoin the regular path of the level, as long as I don't completely screw up my timing for the jump. Thank you very much. So now this is This is a really cool screen. You come up through the bottom there, and you have to encounter this enemy kind of in that tight little cramped space. So it has a changing shot variance here, so that you have to kind of switch between standing under that block directly underneath me and standing on top of it to avoid its shots. So it's a really interesting encounter, made more difficult by the placement of the level more than the enemy itself. Same with here, you have to kind of jump past this little block to make it to the safe area when encountering that little scorpion. Mini E-Tanks, you collect 4 of them to make an E-Tank. I'm sure I've seen that in another game. Not sure if it was in another Mega Man game. I think it might have been in one of the Game Boy games, but I don't know, maybe I'm making that up. It looks familiar, that's all I got. Now, this is a little bit challenging, but I think it's fairly designed. You just have to make it through this area. It's not ridiculous, it's not too demanding. There's only one jump that I'd say is really any difficult, and it's this one here. And even then, it's not too bad. Ooh, almost screwed that up, though. This is a fair challenge, I think. For a platforming challenge that's completely above open pit, that was not bad. One of the problems I have with this game is that it's a little too smartly designed in that the enemies can follow you. Like, that enemy spawned all the way off to the side there and was able to follow me back to this starting point. But while the enemies don't unspawn, let's say, from you scrolling off the edge of the screen, they will respawn. So you can have an enemy follow you to the end of the level, or the end of, I guess, the next scrolling segment, but you can't, like, if you scroll back just too far to the other direction, they'll spawn again. It's unintuitive design, I think. Now here we have Trinitro Man, which is a boss I have a lot of problems with. As you just saw, I shot him in his little headpiece. Oh, that's just really difficult to dodge. And he took a lot of damage, and now he's flashing. The thing is, this boss has a one-hit kill move. So many problems with that. Basically, I'm gonna die. This is gonna be bad. Basically, if you hit his head point 3 times, you die. And since I have no hope of beating this boss right now, I'm just gonna show you what that's like. Okay, drop, and boom. We're dead. Now, I've got so many problems with this. First off, name any Robot Master that has a one-hit kill move. I can't think of one. Maybe there is one, maybe I'm forgetting one, but I can't think of one. Now you have some stage hazardy bosses like Cloud Man, Tengu Man, Burner Man, and any of the ones that have like spikes on the ceiling like Bubble Man. But those are different. Those are stage hazards, and when you enter the boss room, you can see those. The game is telling you this is a bad place to be. So when you first fight Cloud Man, you know to stay away from the edge. You know that he might have an attack that will knock you off. So when you're hit by the wind and you're standing by the edge and you instantly die, that's your fault. It's not the game's fault. They've given you enough information to know that you shouldn't be standing there, that you should try to take the fight to the middle of the stage. So any kind of death is on your fault. This doesn't have that luxury because not only is there a conveyance issue, the first 3 times that I died against this boss by shooting in its weak point, or like the instant self-destruct point, I didn't even realize that's what killed me. I thought I just took too much damage from his attacks and happened to die. So it's a conveyance issue. There isn't really much to tell you that you're going to die until you die. Another thing is that it's a weak point. When you shoot him in that headpiece, he takes more damage than the rest of his body. So that's incredibly counterintuitive. The game is telling you, hey, shoot this place to do more damage, but then it punishes you for doing so. That's really, really poor design, in my opinion. And above pretty much anything else, and I'm going to be a little bit crazy about this, maybe you'll disagree, but I don't think anything in a Mega Man game should have to be learned by dying. I think that a good design will make it so that, you can learn anything without having to die. If you have to die to learn something, then they haven't done their jobs as game designers. Oh, great, now I think I'm gonna die. Sorry, I have to focus a little bit. This is a really tough fight, and I don't want to have to use an E-Tank. Oh, that's a really tough attack to dodge. I know I'm making it look easy. Or maybe not. But okay, come on. I got this. I got this. Boom! Alright, thank God. No game over. So I don't really want to have to game over this quickly. But yeah, so, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this boss. I really like his pattern, although I think that it has a little bit too random of a... I don't know. Sometimes you have to be too close to him to be able to dodge him, depending on whether he goes left or right. And, but overall, it's still not too unfair. Aside from the one-hit kill move, and I just think that's a bad idea. That doesn't really feel like a Mega Man idea. And it could have done a bit more with some conveyance issues. Like, for example, don't make that a weak point. Maybe when you shoot it, it makes a tink sound, but it still, does that whole flashy thing, so uh-oh, that's probably an area where I don't have to hit. Because there's no benefit to you that way. In this case, there's a benefit. You're told, this is a weak point, you should shoot here, and then when you do, you die. It's really misleading, and I think that's unfair. So that's my problem with that. But otherwise, again, this is a pretty decent stage. Nothing's too challenging. I think knowing that you can slide to drop away from those bouncing platforms is a bit much. Like I said, I played the first 3 or 4 levels of this game without even remembering that I had a slide, because it just doesn't feel like it's that well implemented into the gameplay. Maybe you disagree, but that's how it hit me anyway. That's it for now. Let's move on to the next stage.